Hey everyone, it's Kevin again, and I'm back with another episode. And today I'm filming from my new office, and it's actually just a spare room that I had, and I've been working on getting it fixed up and remodeled for the last, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months now. And finally got the walls painted and got some furniture moved in, so I'm finally able to slowly start using it as an office space. Isn't all that spectacular as of yet, but I thought I'd record from here so that you guys could see what my little setup was like. So when you saw a comment or an email or a blog post from me, you can kind of imagine me pounding away at my keyboard here in my office. But anyway, on to the topic of today's episode. And today's topic actually, it actually comes from a few viewer requests that we got, Aaron and I got way back when we still were in our first season of Happy Hour Japan, and a lot of people were asking about Japanese holidays. And I thought, well, it's February, maybe it'd be a good opportunity to talk about Valentine's Day and how the Japanese celebrate Valentine's Day, because it's a little bit different than what you or I might be used to. So before we got started, I want to take a few seconds of your time to make a quick mention of our new site, Speakit.com. And Speakit is a service that Aaron and I put together by ourselves, and it will help you learn Japanese vocabulary in a fun and interactive way just by flipping through some photos of Japan. You know, it's a great way to build up your vocabulary and learn some new words in a practical and very culturally relevant way. And you know, if you ever run into any problems, we have something called Speak It Answers, where you can find all the answers to your Japan and Japanese related questions in one place. So for most of us, you know, when we think of Valentine's Day, we think of it as a couples holiday where you know, couples give each other chocolates and presents and Valentine cards and, you know, go out for romantic dinners and things like that. For the Japanese, you know, that night is taken care of by Christmas Eve. And I think I discussed that in my end of the year video where I talked about how, you know, Japan, you know, has all these illuminations and tries to make all these romantic atmospheres and things for couples to gather and, you know, have these romantic evenings and things like that. So you might be thinking, well, then what happens on Valentine's Day? Well, here in Japan, Valentine's Day is more of a holiday for girls to confess their true feelings to guys and give guys chocolates and presents and things like that. It's kind of a one-way road. And, you know, if you can imagine a girl who has a crush on a guy, this is a great chance for her to approach him, give him some chocolates, and tell him how she feels. So what's interesting is, you know, if you stuck around for some of our previous episodes, one of the underlying themes of a lot of our discussions has been gift giving in Japan. And, you know, if you know a little bit about Japanese culture, or if you've seen some of our previous videos, you probably know that if you receive something, you typically are expected to return something. So it wouldn't be quite right in Japanese culture if Valentine's Day was purely a holiday for guys to receive things and that was it. So the Japanese were clever, and they actually created a new holiday called White Day, and they just arbitrarily set it to be 1 month after Valentine's Day, so it's going to be celebrated here in the next couple weeks on March 14th. And that's the day for guys who received things to return the favor back to the girls from, you know, which they received gifts from, if that made sense. So in other words, if I were to have received something like chocolates on White Day, I would buy something and give it to the person who gave me the chocolates. So, you know, it's very interesting. You know, you don't really see that in too many other cultures. And, you know, it's funny because White Day was actually created or invented by Japanese candy makers. So, you know, brilliant move on their part to create another holiday for, you know, people to buy candy and chocolates and things like that. But it really does jive really well with Japanese culture. And again, it just wouldn't be right if there wasn't another holiday where guys would return the favor to girls. So, you know, just an interesting piece of Japanese culture mixed into the Valentine's Day tradition. And on White Day, the gifts that guys give to girls aren't just limited to chocolates. You know, a lot of times you'll see things being given to girls like jewelry, for example. That's a very popular one you'll see. So it's not always chocolate. And, you know, actually for Valentine's Day, although traditionally around the world, actually, you know, chocolate is pretty much the staple gift for Valentine's Day. But there are other gifts that are given between couples and things on Valentine's Day. And, you know, this year for Valentine's Day, I actually got a box of pudding from the special girl in my life, and I got some chocolates from her mother. So, you know, it's kind of a mix of things that you can receive on both Valentine's Day and White Day. And I always knew that the tradition was for girls to buy things for guys, but I never understood the background story or the backstory on why that happened. Because being from the States, I think of Valentine's Day as a day for guys and girls to exchange gifts, or if anything, for the guy to give the girl chocolates, right? And so I did a little bit of research online, and I found out that apparently, and I don't know this for a fact, but apparently when Valentine's Day was first introduced to Japan, someone made an advertisement and had a typo in it, and so ever since then it was just thought that was the proper way to celebrate Valentine's Day, that girls were supposed to give things to guys, and that's just the way it was celebrated around the world. So there was a little bit of a misunderstanding early on that has kind of propagated here, and it just has stuck around until today. So actually there's another angle to Valentine's Day that I want to talk about, and it's also very Japanese, and this actually ties very closely in with our Happy Hour Japan episode on Japanese stereotypes, where we introduced honne and tatemae. And if you don't remember what that is, honne is kind of like your true feelings, and tatemae are the feelings that you outwardly express. So as I'm sure you've picked up by now, the harmony of the group in Japan is extremely important. They really put a lot of emphasis in maintaining harmony in the group. So you can kind of imagine, especially because Valentine's Day really comes down to a popularity contest, that, if all the chocolates went to only the popular good-looking guy at work, or, only the popular guy in your group of friends, that all the other guys would feel pretty left out. And so the Japanese are very sensitive to this, and they created, they have something called giri choco. And giri choco is short for, or choco is short for chocolate, and giri is kind of like an obligation. So it's like obligation chocolate. And it has no feelings of love or anything attached to them. It's just a nice gesture for girls to give, all the guys at work chocolate on Valentine's Day. So it's kind of just a symbolic chocolate. And it has no meaning of love attached to it. And I think it's very funny that, the Japanese have this, and it's just so uniquely Japanese that I thought it'd be worth discussing here in this episode. So aside from giri choco, there's also something called tomo choco, and tomo choco, if you can imagine, is for chocolates that you give between friends. So a lot of times, if you're a school student in Japan, it's kind of embarrassing to give chocolates to all the guys in your classroom. So instead, you just exchange chocolates amongst your female friends. So that's all I had lined up for this episode. Hopefully you learned something about Japanese culture and a little bit about how Valentine's Day and White Day is celebrated here in Japan. I'll be back with more episodes in the upcoming weeks, so stick around and thanks for watching.